Imagine the most terrifying Russia scenario. For decades, an uneasy peace has been maintained by a delicate balance of power, a concept known as mutual assured destruction. It's a grim promise that a nuclear attack by one superpower would be met with an overwhelming nuclear counterattack by the other, resulting in the complete annihilation of both. But what happens when that logic breaks down? In this nightmare scenario, a cornered leader, perhaps facing imminent regime collapse, decides there is nothing left to lose. The order is given, a final, catastrophic move to unleash a massive nuclear strike against the West. This isn't a simple phone call. The command travels through a hardened, redundant system, authenticated with complex codes from the infamous nuclear briefcase. It's a process designed to be foolproof, but it's a process that ultimately still relies on human decision. It's a possibility that keeps defense experts and world leaders up at night, a ghost that has haunted global politics since 1945. What if that button was pushed? Suddenly, the sirens start wailing. The alerts flash across every screen. It's happening. Satellites in geosynchronous orbit detect the infrared signatures of multiple rocket launches. Deep inside Cheyenne Mountain, screens that have remained quiet for decades blaze red. ICBMs rip the sky at 15,000 miles per hour, loaded with multiple warheads. They ascend beyond the atmosphere, arcing through the cold vacuum of space on a ballistic trajectory. Russia holds the world's largest nuclear arsenal, with roughly 6,000 weapons. About 1,600 of them are actively deployed on missiles and at bomber bases, ready for use. From launch to impact, about 30 minutes. The clock is ticking. This is cold, calculated targeting, designed to cripple an enemy's ability to fight back, their ability to lead, and their ability to exist. Command centers, military assets, economic hearts. We start with the US, the primary adversary. Then we move to key NATO targets. This isn't to fearmonger, it's to understand the brutal logic and the stakes. The first wave targets one place, Washington, D.C. Cut the head off the snake, White House, Capitol, Pentagon. Ensure the order to retaliate never gets given. You're not just vaporizing buildings, you're vaporizing leadership. Hardened bunkers exist, but modern high-yield warheads and earth penetrators change the calculus. Multiple warheads, air bursts, and ground bursts to finish bunkers below. A multi-megaton airburst would flatten miles, ignite firestorms, and cast lethal fallout for hundreds of miles. While Washington, D.C. represents the nation's political command, New York City is its undeniable economic heart, a global metropolis whose financial pulse is felt on every continent. It's more than just America's largest city. It's a concentration of corporate power, international diplomacy, and cultural influence, making it a target of immense strategic value. Here on Wall Street stands the New York Stock Exchange, the very nexus of global finance. Every day, trillions of dollars in transactions flow through its servers, connecting markets from Tokyo to London. This isn't just a building, it's the central node in the world's intricate financial web. A single, successful strike here wouldn't just cripple the US economy, it would trigger a worldwide economic depression on a scale never before seen. The immediate vaporization of this financial hub would send a catastrophic shockwave through every market on Earth. The human cost is equally staggering. With over 8 million lives packed into a tight urban footprint, the population density is unlike almost anywhere else in the nation. This concentration of humanity means a nuclear detonation would result in unimaginable casualties. A single, high-yield airburst over Midtown Manhattan would extinguish millions of lives within seconds. The initial fireball and blast wave would instantly incinerate the city's core, leaving nothing but a cratered, radioactive ruin. Cherished symbols of freedom and global cooperation would be erased from existence. The Statue of Liberty, a beacon for generations, and the United Nations headquarters, the center for international diplomacy, both gone in a flash. The city's lifelines, its harbor, bridges, and tunnels, would be severed or rendered impassable. The island of Manhattan would become a trap, making any large-scale rescue or evacuation effort nearly impossible for survivors. In the aftermath, Global trade would freeze, banks would fail, supply chains would collapse. The intricate systems that deliver food, fuel, and medicine across the globe would shatter. It would be the equivalent of yanking the planet's financial and logistical grid straight from the wall. Next, blind your opponent. Cheyenne Mountain, home of NORAD. A Cold War fortress embedded in granite. Shock-mounted, EMP-shielded, built to ride out nuclear blasts. Destroy NORAD and you sever early warning from decision-makers. Survivors become deaf, dumb, and blind in the crucial minutes. It takes Earth-penetrating warheads to crush caverns and tunnels. Even if the vault survives, its lifelines won't. Cheyenne Mountain in darkness turns into a tomb of useless information. Break the Sword, America's land-based ICBMs in hardened silos. Each silo is a hardened target, mapped to exact coordinates. Russian missiles release multiple warheads to blanket fields. Dozens to hundreds of detonations churn Earth and fallout. Strike the launch bases and control links to orphan remaining missiles. Getting them all is impossible. Degrading 70–80% changes the equation. Surviving leaders face a smaller, less effective arsenal. It's a brutal, numbers-driven bid to disarm before a response. The air leg, B-2 Spirits and B-52 Stratofortresses. Flexible, recallable, which makes their bases prime targets. Key hubs, Barksdale, Whiteman, dense fleets on airfields. A single warhead can erase aircraft on the ground. Some may launch, but the fleet can't live in the sky. Hit the ecosystem, command, maintenance, fuel, and weapons storage. Airborne survivors become one-shot weapons without a home. America's long-range strike capacity collapses with its bomber bases. Ballistic missile submarines, the most survivable leg. Each sub holds apocalyptic firepower, a guaranteed second strike. You can't kill them all at sea, so you hit their nests. Import subs are most vulnerable. Destroy dry docks, loading facilities, weapons storage, and command nodes. A single strike cripples an entire fleet's support. Survivors become homeless leviathans, powerful but unsustainable. Without orders or rearming, the sea-based deterrent withers after one salvo. In modern war, you strike not only missiles and bombs, but information and technology. Silicon Valley is the global epicenter of innovation. Its R&D fuels both the economy and advanced military systems. Data centers, server farms, semiconductor fabs, critical nodes. A strike here kneecaps America's digital backbone. Communications, finance, logistics. Catastrophic failure. Intellectual property and the engine of future growth. Erased. The economic shock rivals New York's destruction in a different, deeper way. A modern nation, and its military, runs on energy. The Gulf Coast, centered on Houston, is America's energy heart. Refineries, petrochemicals, gas processing, and a world-class port. A nuclear strike here severs the nation's primary fuel line. The Air Force, Navy, Army, and the economy grind to a halt. Energy prices explode, triggering global recession. Fires ignite refineries and chemicals, poisoning air, water, and land. An industrial and ecological catastrophe layered atop nuclear devastation. To neutralize the West, you must fracture NATO. Brussels is the alliance brain, political and military. Strike here to sow chaos and disunity. With HQs destroyed, top commanders are gone. Response uncoordinated. It's also a blow to the European Union's political core. Nations act alone, paralyzed by fear and uncertainty. Military and economic power can't be brought to bear. A single blow aims to shatter the post-war European order. America's closest ally, the United Kingdom, is a primary target. Decapitate leadership, sever command and control, eliminate critical hubs of American air power in Europe. A world finance pillar, its loss compounds the global crash. UK's submarine deterrent is left leaderless amid chaos. One fell swoop to remove a key ally and forward US presence, symbolically immense, erasing a cornerstone of the Western order. Which brings us to why peace and deterrence matter. Walking through these targets is chilling. Each point on the map isn't just a location, it's a calculated decision, a node in a network designed for total systemic collapse. It represents the cold, detached logic of a conflict that must never be fought. This is a roadmap to the end of the world as we know it. A meticulously planned sequence of events that, once initiated, would spiral out of control with terrifying speed. The targets are chosen with brutal logic. First, counterforce strikes to neutralize the enemy's ability to retaliate. Then, countervalue strikes to dismantle industry, government, and society itself. It's a strategy designed to dismantle function, fight, and existence. The scale of destruction, loss of life, and poisoning is beyond comprehension. Beyond the initial fireballs and shockwaves, the world would be choked by radioactive fallout, rendering vast territories uninhabitable for generations. A nuclear winter could plunge the planet into a prolonged, artificial ice age. This worst-case yet thankfully unlikely scenario is precisely why deterrence and diplomacy remain so vital. For decades, a fragile peace has been maintained not by trust, but by the certainty of total annihilation. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, kept the nuclear genie mostly bottled during the Cold War. It's a terrifying paradox. The only thing preventing the use of these weapons is the guarantee that their use would ensure your own destruction. This is what that promise holds back. It's not just cities and armies, but the very fabric of civilization itself. In a global thermonuclear war, there are no victors, only victims. There are no spoils, only a poisoned, broken world. The only way to win is not to play the game.